In this video, I'll be doing my maintenance vlog for the month of April for this 2019 PowerStroke 6.7. In this video, I'll be discussing the maintenance that I performed, any modifications I made, the miles that were driven, and unfortunately in this episode, we have quite a few big issues that I'll be discussing. For maintenance items, on April 12th, I rotated the tires. That was at 205,700 miles. My next item for April was to replace the coolant overflow hoses. I did that on the 14th, and that was at 205,731 miles. I had a leak in one of the T-fittings, and I really wouldn't recommend just going out and buying the whole hose apparatus. I think there are companies that make that T-fitting by itself, and you could probably go to a hardware store. But it was the day that my wife and I were moving, and so I just wanted to get it fixed. I just went to the dealer, got the part, did all the hoses. In hindsight, it was, it's like a $200 hose apparatus, so I probably could have just not done that. And so, that's the way it goes. It was kind of in a panicky situation. I wasn't thinking super clearly, so I just did it. And that was it for April, just the coolant hoses and a tire rotation. So a lot better than the prior 2 months where I was doing a bunch of projects. And obviously with that list, there were no modifications I had to make. I didn't really do anything with the truck, again, other than just some basic maintenance. And last but not least, for the mileage update, we are at 215,063 miles, which means that in the last month since my last update, I drove 7,752 miles. So what are the issues that we have? Well, it may be the end of the road for this emissions truck. I got the P2459 code, and usually the truck snaps out of it after it does a bunch of regens really close together. But this time it didn't. It just kept doing it, and it burned every 50 to 100 miles for like 2,000 miles. I know I feel terrible because it's not good for it, but I was on the other side of the country and had to get home, and that was what we had to do. And so I am pretty done with dealing with this thing. It's, the oil pan's leaking. I just found out that the O-ring for the SPE transcooler line is also leaking, meaning I'll probably have to drain the trans pan again and put a new O-ring in that has like less than 15,000 those transcooler lines do. And they're aftermarket, so pretty frustrating. And then, now the DPF. And, I've spent so much time and diag and calling people and just, and it's just like you can't win. And to be fair, the truck has 215,000 miles. Like, I got 200K, 100K more than I think most people thought I would, out of, a DPF. And, even right up until the end before it kind of decided to really shit the bed, like, I was doing between 300 and 500 miles between regens, like, pretty consistently. But then this last trip, it got 7,000 miles to the face and was like, no. And yeah, the tough thing here is you're looking at, for all these repairs, right? I am planning to reseal the upper oil pan, because in talking to Lake, I realized, I can't get accurate oil analysis results when it's leaking oil. You just can't do that. So that has to be repaired in order for me to keep doing the oil testing with the Shell Rotella. And so, you're looking at a pan reseal. I did buy a 2011 pan, but then, all in with travel, parts, labor, that's probably about $2,000 with all the fluids and everything. Plus the DPF, I already reached out to a dealer and they said it was $7,800 plus the trans cooler. So you're looking at $10,000. That's an engine. Not an engine installed, but like a crate 6.7 is about 10. And so I think this is about as much as anyone would want to put into something like this, and just keeping an emissions truck on the road. It's just, it's just unreal. And I do still like the truck. and I'm going to try to keep it, but there's going to be some changes, and I think I'm going to proclaim the emissions truck dead at 215. Yeah, I'm just so tired of dealing with the issues. And it's not even emissions. Honestly, the emissions stuff hasn't been that bad. It's, you know, it's just the combination of things. And I drive a lot, you know, so it's just like the never-ending maintenance. And I don't want to sound super defeatist either, because, you know, the truck is kind of the devil that I know. I've toyed with the idea, just because I've been so discouraged recently, that I should just, you know, sell it and buy something different, right? That's kind of always the reaction you can get when your vehicle shits the bed. You're like, I should just sell it and get a different one. But, you know, I don't really know if that's worth it either, honestly. I mean, my truck's paid off. I know what needs done. I know it can get me places. So it also does seem a little irrational to just sell it and liquidate and end the channel. So regardless of what happens, I just want to say I really appreciate you being here on the channel and watching this video. I never would have thought that this channel would have grown how it has, you know, and at the end of the day, I always try to say this, like, I'm not a tech or a mechanic, I'm just an owner, and I'm trying to put my experience out here for other owners. So yeah, we're gonna figure out a way to get this thing sorted, but the pan needs resealed, needs a new DPF, and I'm sure there'll be some folks, you can definitely say you told me so, because I was kind of fighting, being like, no, it's a sensor, no. And I mean, I did need a mass airflow sensor, and, you know, I needed some other stuff, but it's like, the signs were there. I just was in denial. Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, and I will see you next time here on PowerStroke Maintenance. Cheers.